I mean, let's face it, there are certain terminologies that make anyone cringe. Now, for some people, it's the terminology batch cooking. What? Some people go out of their mind when they hear these two words. Let's take the scare out of those two words. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hi, this is Jan. Welcome to another episode on the Save Money and More with Jan channel. Happy Sunday. La 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 la. How you doing today? Hope everybody's doing well on this Sunday. I see the words written, I read articles or I hear it on videos, and of course, implement it in my life. Now, listen, everyone is different. Everyone approaches things differently. There is no right or wrong. I just want to take the sting out of the two words batch cooking. Why do I want to do that? Well, for myself, I feel there are certain methods which cut down on the scary part. Therefore, for me, the sting has already been removed. Jan, what are you talking about? Before I get into it, don't forget to please click like, smash down the like button. I appreciate it. It helps out the channel. Thank you. All right. I mentioned it briefly, maybe on one or two videos in the past, even maybe recently on a video. However, we have a wonderful old fashioned instrument. Okay. Actually, we have a couple. All right. One definitely is our slow cooker. Our slow cooker takes a lot of the painful waiting. And well, no, actually, you wait with a slow cooker, but it takes away the anxiety of standing in front of the stove monitoring the food that's being cooked. So, if let's say a person has a couple of slow cookers, which is a nice thing, by the way, let's say a person has a chicken soup going in one slow cooker, and a person at the same day, at the same exact time, is also running their slow cooker to doing a beef stew. That is batch cooking in the making. Imagine. So slow cookers can run in size from the sublime to the much bigger, much bigger. And you see where I'm going with this. You're doing batch cooking. And a lot of those recipes, like I just mentioned, are basically dump and go recipes. Yeah. I recorded a bunch of videos a long time ago with some of those dump and go recipes, but I may take the book out again because slow cooker weather is rapidly approaching. Now, I have to laugh at that because slow cooker weather to me is 12 months out of the year. And that is the beauty part. Because in my kitchen, whenever I run a slow cooker, it could be July if I want something cooked. If I'm doing batch cooking, for example, let's say I want to make 24 meatballs in my slow cooker. Okay. I'm not heating up my kitchen. I like to have the meatballs. I like to have them nice and prepared. So let's say one night I want spaghetti and meatballs. I just take down the meatballs from the freezer and add them to my fresh spaghetti. I'm just saying. And it's done easily and it's just a wonderful option. Please take advantage of those options and do not be afraid of batch cooking. Now, what is the other place where you get batch cooking done? Now, I never worked with an instant pot, all right? So many people do, and they love it. I don't know, maybe I'm just old fashioned. I'm just so happy and or caught up in my ways with the slow cooker that I'm totally okay without having it. But there's nothing wrong with having it. All right. So, but there's another option. When the weather gets a little chilly and, cuts the edge off the chill in your home or apartment or wherever space you're in, and you can use your oven. Your oven. And by the way, here's another mistake, in my opinion, when it comes to batch cooking that people make. People are underutilizing their ovens. Yeah. For example, why just roast the chicken? You could roast a chicken in the same oven at the same time that you roast, for example, a beef. Does that make sense? Or meatloaf. Does that make sense? Bake a meatloaf. You see where I'm going with this? Or you can roast your potatoes at the same time as your chicken. I knew someone, for example, that would do a roast chicken and potatoes separately in their oven and spending like many hours like using the oven. I'm like, does this make sense? Why couldn't the person bake their potatoes at the same time? It's just a matter of knowing the proper time, temperature, all this and that. But if they're in the same temperature range, there's no reason. Just monitor how long something should be. So if, let's say that a chicken, I'm just using this as an example. Let's say you're roasting a chicken, and according to the directions, blah, 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 you need 2 hours to roast that chicken, right? But let's say that baked potato only needs an hour. So you put it in the second hour. I'm just saying, that's just an example. It's just a matter of adjusting the time. You don't have to wait for the chicken is done completely and then throw the potatoes in, because technically it doesn't even make sense, not to mention using more gas or electric or spending too much extra time. I'm just saying. Now, all those things I mentioned are kind of like things you like assemble and put away in an oven or in a slow cooker. For example, let's say it's a rainy Sunday afternoon and you chose that week to do some quote end of quote batch cooking. You could be having all those things going, okay, those couple of slow cookers, your oven, whatever. I'm just using that as an example. You could be kicking back watching a football game if that's something you like to do. I'm just saying, or a movie, all right, or catching up on some video chats or some phone calls, or paying your bills, or looking at your budget. You see where I'm going with this? Or just make yourself a hot cup of coffee and kick back and do absolutely zero, zero. While those appliances that you already, because you're so smart and so wise and want to save money for your family, are going, you have that time. You're right there. I'm just saying, I think a lot of times people get afraid of batch cooking because it sounds scary. Oh, batch cooking. Now, I do like to say, for example, that we are the CEOs and we manufacture our own meals. Yeah, there's a reason why I say it. What's that reason? Because it's true. So we are the CEOs of our kitchens. We are the CEOs of our wallets. Okay. And I mean, honestly, there's nothing better than homemade cooking. All right. The other night, I had a very delicious, delicious meal. A friend of mine blessed me with. It was so unexpected. I had a visitor, and that person, I had just a wonderful chicken, rice, and broccoli. Beautiful, simple stir fry type of meal. It was so good. Now I do my own, of course, but don't ask me why. Other people's cooking tends to taste a little bit better sometimes than our own. I'm just goofing, but sometimes it does, because maybe they're using a different ingredient or whatever. I love my own cooking. Please, I don't want to put myself down here. But the thought, I'm just thinking, you know what? This is really, I mean, this is not like rocket science here. But isn't that a whole lot better? For example, I'm just using this as an example. This kind of food is a whole lot better than the processed kind. I mean, every food is processed basically, but when you make your own stuff from scratch, it's less processed. And we more or less know what we're putting inside that meal. Does that make sense? So please, if there's one thing that I ask of you, I mean, now it all depends on what your plan is too. Now, sometimes people do a scary amount of batch cooking. That would scare even me. But you want to know what's really scary are? A, not having any meals to cook. B, finding zero meals. I love the thought of certain meals done up ahead of time. Long day, done up meal. I don't feel like picking up the phone for takeout. I don't feel like going over to a fast food place and eating goodness knows what with goodness knows what's in it. I'm just saying. And the prices are insane. Now, some places, of course, are going to give you a grab deal meal type of thing. But I'm just saying, batch cooking, you can make it as scary or as least scary as you want. It's all in the way we look at it. Let me know how you feel about that in the comment section below. Have an amazing day, everybody. Take good care of yourself and your wonderful family. Don't forget to click like, share, and subscribe.